Let's Talk. Today's upload has actually been inspired by another YouTuber under the heading of Are You Surprised? He's been making a lot of videos about Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and today he actually posted a video up of him coming out to his dad. So I want to say congratulations to him, and congratulations to his dad for being an awesome dad. His dad basically said, hey, I love you, and it doesn't change anything between us. His dad was really cool about it, which I think is awesome. So it inspired me to make this video and tell you guys about my coming out story, right? I wish I could tell you that my parents were the same way, right? But let me give you a little background. I'm Mexican. My mom is a diehard Catholic. My dad is from the south of Mexico. And, he prides himself on being a man's man. Very machista, and there's certain things that a man is supposed to be, or what they expect a man to be. Obviously, I'm not flamboyant. I'm not, I have no aspirations of dressing up in drag, or put women's clothes on, or lipstick on, or anything like that. I pride myself in saying that, I'm just an average guy. One of the biggest things I always tell people is that the only difference between me and them, if they're heterosexual, is that after a long day of work, I come home and there's a man in my bed instead of a woman. But that's it. There's really no other difference. I put on my pants the same way. Maybe I have a little bit more fashion sense than them, but that's not always true. I think that, what people like to use the term straight acting, right? So, anyways, back to my parents. My dad immigrated to the States when he was 14, and my mom came later in her 20s. And so they're, very old school, very old-fashioned. And one of the things that actually prompted me to coming out was stress. I couldn't deal with anything anymore. I was in a 4-year relationship at the time, and I was having a lot of problems with the person I was with. I didn't have that support. I didn't have my family there. I didn't have I couldn't talk to my mom and say, hey mom, this is what I'm going through. What do you think? Or hey dad, I need some advice. I didn't have that. Compile that with the fact that every time I saw my mom, she would be like, hey, when are you going to give me grandchildren? When are you going to give me grandchildren? When are you going to give me grandchildren? Trust me, my brothers get it all the time. And I was just like, wow, just so stressed out. And one day, I had enough. And so I told my parents, I started crying, and I told them that I was sorry, that the last thing I wanted to do was hurt them, or embarrass them, or anything, and that I loved them, and to tell them, this. And so, I told them, I said, hey, I'm gay. And my mom just started crying, and she got up and walked away. She didn't say nothing to me. She just cried and cried and cried and cried, and my dad was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. And then he said that he felt bad for me. And I said, why do you feel bad for me? And he said, because God doesn't love people like you. And that really hurt. That hurt coming from your dad. And I told him, I said, hey, the God that I believe in, the one that loves everybody, he loved me because he made me this way. It wasn't a choice. It wasn't something that happened to me when I was a kid, and whatever. It was, he chose for me to be this way. So they asked me to leave. So I left the house. I was already living on my own and everything, but I was visiting that day. So a couple days passed, I think 2 days passed, and I got a phone call from my mom. She was very upset. She said, why? Why did I have to do this to them? Why did I have to tell them? I think she would have been happy with me not telling them. She told me that it was easier for her to tell the family that I killed myself than to have to tell the family that I was gay. And that really hurt, right? But I also knew that my parents were going through an anger phase, right? There's 4 phases of grief, they say, right? Or 5, I can't remember. But there's actually the same phases when it comes to coming out, right? First, you're in denial. Then you're angry. Then there's a mourning period for parents because they have to mourn, they believe they lost that child, right? And now they have this new one. My mom and dad had all these dreams. When I was born as a little kid, they had all these dreams about what they thought my life was supposed to be. I was supposed to get married. I was supposed to have grandchildren. I was supposed to have a house and do all these things. And I think it's hard for parents sometimes to accept that the dreams they had for their kids are not necessarily the same dreams their kids had, right? And it wasn't, not in my case. So that went on. I told my mom on the phone that day when she told me that I was going to give her 2 weeks. I said, you have 2 weeks to get this all out, say whatever you want to say. But if in 2 weeks you don't come around, then I'm gone. I'm very like that. I'm very black and white. I'm very, okay, I understand. You're mad, you're upset, whatever. Get over it. Because this is who I am. My parents, when I was young, my dad used to always tell me that no matter what, they would love me. And so I told them, I said, you told me you would love me no matter what. And I said, maybe what you should have said was you would love me no matter what as long as I wasn't gay. And I can't imagine that it's easy for them, the same way it wasn't easy for me to go through that period. But 2 weeks passed. My parents were about to leave to Mexico on vacation. My brother came over and said, "Hey, Mom and Dad want you to come by the house." And then I was like, "Nah, I don't want to go." But anyhow, I ended up going, and my dad hugged me, and my mom hugged me, and they said they loved me, and then that was it. Since then on, it's been a constant trying to push that limit. Parents, I think they've come to acceptance of me, but not quite where they need to be, right? They don't want my family to know. So my aunts, my cousins, love me. They want to keep it completely secret. They said, hey, you know what, if you want to live your life, but there's no reason to tell these people. I think part of that is because they think that these people are going to be mean to me and they don't want to see me be treated bad. But I also think that part of it is because they don't want to be seen different, right? Like, they're the ones who have the son. My hope is that one day my parents can be proud, because they are proud of me of all the things I've accomplished in my life. The places I've been, being in the Marine Corps, going to school, having a job, be able to pay my own bills, all this stuff. So they're proud of me in that sense. But I hope that one day they come to a point where they're proud of me for being who I am. And right now I'm single, so it's stopped the push as much. But I know for a fact that when I do meet someone and I end up in a relationship, that person deserves to have their place next to me. And my parents are going to have to accept him, for who he is. And obviously, I still want to have kids, so they're going to have to accept that I have kids and not in a traditional way that they always thought I should have kids, because I think everything changes, but it wasn't a physical thing for me. It was a very emotional process when I came out. It definitely hurts when your parents say these things, but I think deep down inside I know they love me. I know that I'm maybe not what they expected out of their son, but I know that eventually they'll come around. My mom 2 years ago went to a meeting in Chicago for a mother's group, which were basically called Mapas, and it's a group for mothers to support and parents to learn how to be with their gay children or lesbian children. And I still to this day don't know what happened during that process, because I wasn't allowed in. But I think after that, me and my mom have had some conversations, and I've been able to talk to her about people I'm seeing. And little by little, she's coming around. My dad and I don't really talk, and that's something that I want to work on. But I think they're in a good place. Like I said, there's 5 different stages of it, right? So I think they're closer to the end stage of acceptance, fully acceptance. So, yep, that's my coming out story. Thank you for coming by and taking a look at my video. Again, make sure you tell your friends about it, subscribe. go check out Are You Serious? He has some awesome videos, and congrats to him again. And, you guys have a good day.